AI can go wrong, and it's important for us to set the systems that we have set for humans to ensure that it's not able to make such mistakes. All repeatable tasks that we have can be replaced with AI today. Wherever you need extra insightful thinking and there is a lot of, say, experience, that's where we need humans to make the big, more important, high stakes decision. First of all, would be understanding the fundamentals of AI, what AI exactly is, what are the different types of AI. Secondly, what can you use AI for in your day-to-day? Find one thing that you hate in your job and try to see if there's an AI replacement for that. This really helps in adopting AI because you are replacing that one thing that you hate, and it just gives you more and more incentive to replace that with AI.
All right, welcome back everyone to a new episode of Business Unbound. Every week I sit down with exceptional practitioners who share the mental models, the frameworks and instincts they have developed and acquired over the course of their careers. I'm your host, Florian Hoff. Today I'm joined by Akshay Nagpal. Akshay is, deeply embedded in the world of AI. He is currently an Agentic product leader at a UK-based Gen AI and product innovation studio and has previously worked across product, technology, and AI at ING and Nokia. In today's conversation, we explore how Akshay thinks about AI in practice and in particular, how he, separates the hype from substance, how he judges where AI should be used, what skills professionals need now, and how work may change as intelligence systems become more capable. Akshay Nagpal, welcome to Business Unbound.
Thank you so much, Florian. Lovely to be here and to have met you.
I'm super excited to have you. AI is obviously the spirit of our time. And Akshay, to get us started, can you tell us what are you spending most of your professional time on right now?
So I spend most of my time as an agentic product lead at one of the UK-based startups, wherein I help them lead their tech teams and a team of agents to do product building, to train, to fine-tune some large language models, to vision models, and basically think about how the new product management role is going to evolve. How are we going to work in tandem with the AI agents?
Okay, so I understand that you're very much working at the frontier of technology right now. And just for our audience members, perhaps you can explain it to me as if I'm like 12 years old. When you refer to agents, intelligent products, agentic products, what does it really mean in practice?
Yes. So basically, just like we humans have our corporate jobs, we think of creating intelligent agents, which are like intelligent pieces of software that can think, reason, make decisions, have some agency to act and do certain pieces of tasks. And we call these particular pieces of softwares who are autonomous, run all the time, as agents. Our idea is, how can I work together with these agents or give them, offload a lot of our work to these agents so that we can do more of new thinking work, and all the repeatable, simple decision work can go to these pieces of software.
And just for the benefit of our audience members understanding, what is the difference, say, from using ChatGPT or any other large language model just in your browser versus in agentic AI? What's the difference?
So when you speak with ChatGPT or Claude or any other tool, you're having a conversation. It can pull up some data for you using some agentic tools these days, but it's mostly a conversation. So you can ask it, can you draft an email for me? Because I want to send Florian this email about this particular subject, and it'll help you draft that email. But where agentic AI, takes over is that it will read our previous conversations, get the context, draft an email, and send that email as well. So it has made the decision, or we have given it the capability of making that decision to send that email as well. And that's where the normal conversational AIs differ from agentic AIs, which are able to do stuff on our behalf.
Understood. I find this is a very fascinating topic. Let me just confront you with an example that I came across the other day. I read an article about a company. They tested an AI agent in accounting, and they tested this agent against a human CPA, so a qualified accountant. And what they did, they both started at the same time, and the accountant would go on over time, over months, to categorize transactions accordingly and do accounting activities. And the AI agent would as well. And then they checked after a couple of months how accurate were the CPA, so the human, and the AI working. And what they realized over time is that the output of the AI just gradually went worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until it was like only at 20% effectiveness or similar after a couple of months. How does this example resonate with you?
Very true. If we use AI out of the box, there are various limitations of all the AI tools that are there. And one of the biggest is something called as context window. It's basically how much an AI can remember in a particular session. Once it's basically things that it can store on top of its mind, and once you start to overload it, at some point of time it starts deviating from what the original task was or the goal was. It's just like if I have been tasked 20 things to do and I have to do a lot of processing to get that done, at some point of time, my human brain will get tired and will remember only the last few things and deviate from the original goal. So I think this is very true. There are various limitations of AI at the moment, but there are also solutions to counter those limitations that we use so that the issues that we are seeing or that the issue that you described does not happen.
Let me present to you another use case, another example that I came across recently. And just for reference, we are recording today on May 8th. And I think this example that I'm speaking about in a moment came out like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And I believe that it was a car rental company. And the car rental company, they also had an AI, an agent, and this agent helped with coding. Right? Apparently, the AI was working on some code and it couldn't like debug the code properly. There were mistakes and errors, and the error was along the lines of, there was an issue with the production system, etc. And then the AI made the decision, my code that I generated now interferes with the production and there is an error between. How about I just delete the production database, then my code runs properly? And it had the capabilities, and it deleted the entire production database. What do you think about that?
It's scary. It's scary. Even now, with all the latest AI models that we have, we are scared to give it the right access. So it is not advisable. There are limitations of AI. There are scary things it has done. And there are numerous examples like you've described today. No one should give AI right access today. So there are various mechanisms to implement these guardrails that you can. For example, human in the loop is the famous kind of pattern that all the companies who have understand these risks implement, wherein you create mechanisms that AI is not able to write itself or make any change by itself. It's only able to say, write the code to execute the change. But before that code gets executed, you have a human in the loop who takes, who reviews it before any high stakes decision is made. For example, I have an AI system which basically sends emails on my behalf. I know that there are various risks involved with it. So I've given it a separate email address, which is different from my personal email address so that it does not have all the data on me. Secondly, anytime it has to send any email that is, say, out of the normal templates that we have decided together, me and the agent, it needs to ask me about it. It needs to take my explicit approval before sending that email. There are issues around hallucination, wherein, as you described, after some time, the AI can forget the real purpose. So it's very important to refresh those context windows in different sessions. And it's also important that after a couple of emails, you are seeing that the AI still remembers the goal and it's not deviating from it. So these checks and balances are very important. So we need to think of AI like how we would think of human employees. For example, no one in any organization gives a single employee all access to all corporate systems, all production systems. For us to make any change in a production database, an engineer needs to raise a review, which two other engineers review that code before that is allowed inside. So AI can go wrong, and it's important for us to set the systems that we have set for humans to ensure that it's not able to make such mistakes.
And let us actually talk further about AI opportunities. I'm very much interested to learn, based on your experience, what are some actually possible use cases with AI today? What are the major ones that you are seeing and that you have seen in practice working?
I think the number one use case has been in contact centers. So any customer support, information sharing, they're getting more and more replaced with AI. So because AI can speak more empathetically with customers than humans can, it also has the ability to quickly fetch information compared to human ability to fetch latest information. So contact center is number one in any organization. It's replacing. Number two is productivity and efficiency. So within engineering teams are the first to adopt it, wherein you're seeing massive efficiency. The features that took 1 month to ship are being shipped under 3 to 4 days with a better quality of output. So productivity, efficiency in engineering teams, then efficiency and productivity also in other teams. For example, if you have to create, if you are in a marketing team, then today you can generate video campaigns, image assets within minutes, which used to take proper photo shoot of models, then going through marketing agencies, etc. So that's another avenue within a company where people are cutting costs using AI. Then in terms of knowledge gathering as well as learning, L&D, learning and development, I think what AI is doing is personalizing education and experiences so much that people are, rather than going into structured programs, structured courses, people are turning towards AI and saying, based on everything that you know about me, can you give me a structured program to learn this? And give me, for example, if I come from product or engineering background, if you have to give me examples, give me examples that are similar to engineering frameworks that I have learned so that it's easy for me to understand this completely new topic. So these are some of the major areas that I see. And one of the biggest one probably that I missed is automations.
Mhm.
So AI is helping in doing automations way quickly than it was possible. So rather than having an automation engineer who basically builds up some scripts over months to automate any feature testing to any regular workflow that any organization has, AI is able to build those automations way quickly. So that's another massive unlock that we're getting. And that is also where a massive value is coming out of, because you are expediting existing workflows. So that's instant value that organizations are getting.
Do you have concrete examples for workflows in which AI assisted automations work super efficiently?
So let me think. One of the clients that I'm working with, they get a lot of leads from Facebook or Meta ads, and the people in this client's company need to speak with all of those clients, and they need to decide whether it's the relevant lead or have they confused with another service that this company doesn't provide. Secondly, is this lead a warm lead or a hot lead, or is this lead a cold lead? And they spent a lot of time having those conversations to refine the sales funnel right now. And they were also bottlenecked by it because they have only limited capacity to talk to everyone. Now I have deployed with them an AI agent that can speak with the customer, get all the relevant details. And the moment the AI thinks it's a hot lead according to the algorithm that we have built, it automatically gets a human agent to do the sales. So that way we have unlocked kind of the scale wherein the people were spending a lot of their time into refining the leads. Now they're only doing the sales, and AI has automated that entire process of refining and filtering the relevant leads.
And when a company approaches you and says, hey, I have this problem, XYZ, what are the first things that you consider when you think about if and to what extent AI could be helpful?
I think currently the understanding of any organization is that AI can do everything. So the first thing I kind of do is make them aware of the risks the AI poses with any of the workflow that they want to change. So that's my number one step, kind of setting expectations clear about what AI can do versus what it cannot do. The second step, once they are aware of the risk and they want to go forward, the second thing that I do is basically rather than understanding what they want to automate or what they want AI to take over, I basically go, what is the business goal that they have? Because a lot of times people have this perspective of we want AI to do this, which is replacing what the humans do. But the AI does not need to do what the humans do to achieve the same business goals. We go like, why do they want to implement AI? What is the purpose of that particular um, workflow, or what is the business reason at first? So we go into the discovery of that. And then we basically do solution scoping of which AI tool can do this, what are the risks involved, what are the costs involved, and the various trade-offs that come as part of it. And only once we have scoped all of that do we go into solution implementation.
And what are some of the features where you say, yes, this could be feasible, yes, this could be economically viable? What needs to be true?
I think number one, the volume needs to be high, because if it's all about reading one email, then anyone can do that. Like it's probably will spend more time making the AI solution than having a human. Number two, I think I can categorize some of the AI use cases. Number one is summarization. So whatever content you've got, AI can summarize that really effectively. Even if it's a book, it can load all that book and give you a summary. Number two, extraction. If you have got a lot of data, AI can very effectively extract data out of it. Number three is decision making. So based on the various business goals context, AI can give you decision based on those boundaries that you have set for AI. So these are some of the different broad categories that AI can be used to do. And if I have to give you concrete examples of where I'm seeing AI being used, number one, as I said, sales agents, customer support, then internal workflows of generating, say, marketing campaigns, then email writing. I think everyone is using it for email and message writing. So a lot around communications. Then like code writing is another one. So that's definitely that. And then you have QA and testing being done of products, wherein AI agents are like going to a website, scrolling through, clicking various buttons and doing testing. So that's another possible scenario that you can use AI for. Yeah. And then I think a lot of people nowadays are using tools like OpenClaw to manage, say, their personal life in a better manner, like all the personal tasks, going from, say, sending WhatsApp messages on their behalf to their friends to controlling their whole home based on when you see me driving my Tesla towards home, automatically turn on the lights, or like heat up the room to the temperature based on the weather conditions outside. So it's really like a huge range. And I think like people are becoming more and more creative and in defining new use cases for AI, because it can very well make decisions on our behalf in like a vast category of use cases. It's just about like, okay, what is that new interesting use cases that we want to do?
What are a few of the most interesting or creative use cases that you've come across recently?
Let me think. One of the use cases, so as I was saying, one of the use cases has been, one of my friend has used OpenClaw to reply to his WhatsApp messages and continue the conversation on how he would do it to save a lot of time and kind of just get the summary of what the action items need to be. Secondly, another use case that I have been using AI for is I wanted to build my public profile. So speaking at conferences, so I used an AI to every day send emails to different conferences, and submit my abstract title, fill the forms, and do whatever is needed to submit my entry. And within like 15, 20 days, I got an invitation to speak at 3 conferences. So that is something I would never spend my own time on. But because I had a reliable AI setup, I could just offload some of the things I want to do, but I don't have time to do. Then another use case, another interesting use case that I've seen is coming up with, say, new interesting business decisions. So there's this AI skill that has come, which combines some of the famous personalities like Elon Musk and some philosophers who basically talk amongst themselves when you give them a problem. And they'll have a discussion in front of you, and you can read that discussion. And then they'll give you interesting perspectives from all of their different experiences, and then a final recommendation. So that's another interesting use case of AI that I'm seeing, basically creating digital twins of, say, humans who have existed in the past and present, and getting to know their perspectives on things.
When you think about AI use cases more in a business context, we spoke about what use cases are potentially viable. What makes you skeptical? I mean, what use cases that are possibly being discussed are examples for those where you say this is just not working right now? It doesn't make sense to spend time, money, effort on.
I think the use cases are differing based on an organization's risk capacity. For example, a huge bank or a huge organization that is regulated right now is only using AI for, say, document extraction, so that the output of the extraction from the document becomes better and their forms get filled better, which is definitely something of value to them, but does not sound as creative as what the startups are doing, wherein you're having an AI call your customers, get feedback for you, and probably sell them extra products or upsell them, cross-sell them products. So I think the risk totally depends on the kind of organization that you are. But I think what makes me skeptical is rather than technology making me skeptical, it's more like humans are implementing it. The people who just go like, AI is super cool, it can do everything today, and let's just implement it and give it access to everything in the organization. That makes me feel scared, because that is a sure short recipe of failure or a disaster. But the people who understand the different limitations, for example, understanding what a context window is and how, like, basically what AI can understand, that context get polluted in some time. Secondly, how even though you give explicit approval rules to AI, it does not really respect them, because it'll forget at some point of time, not just forget, but more like it's one line in some document and it might not read that particular document in a session. So understanding these kind of limitation and designing systems that kind of like protect against those limitations. If people are doing that, I think it's very much possible to use AI in most scenarios today, even replacing, say, one of your departments in a company. But designing those systems is very important. I think all repeatable tasks that we have can be replaced with AI today. Wherever you need extra insightful thinking, and there is a lot of, say, experience coming. For example, you have probably 13, 14 years of experience today, and you have a lot of heuristics and experience that's not documented anywhere, but you are able to collect that experience while making any decision. AI does not have that 14, 15 years of experience within an organization or within a particular field. So that's where we need humans to make the big, more important, high stakes decision. And we need AI to take the small stake decisions, repeatable decisions that have less consequence.
Understood. And continuing along those lines, in a business context, what do, let's say, both executives and senior managers, and on the other hand, just regular professionals, tend to overestimate about AI?
I think the executives and the managers read the news where the AI hype is going on massively, and they overestimate the capabilities of AI today. And I think that one is overestimation, and second is also the risk. I think the risk capacity is a bit low, and kind of like they're adverse to change, that it's not the right direction. It's the dystopian world. So I see those kind of characteristics in a not everyone, but a good number of people. In terms of regular professionals, I feel that I can again categorize them into kind of three types, wherein one are very anti AI, don't want to use it at all, are not not going with the change, and they've probably used it once and they see, oh, this does not work for me, and haven't really explored. The second types are who have basically started using ChatGPT, Claude to do their emails, but they are not using the full extent. And third are the people who have, at this point of time, basically replaced their jobs with AI, but haven't told anyone because they get a lot of free time and AI does their work.
Flip side, Akshay, what is it generally speaking that people underestimate about AI in a business context?
In terms of underestimation of AI, I think evolves at a unprecedented speed that we haven't seen anywhere else in any other industry. There's a new, smarter, more intelligent model coming up every 2 weeks. Other than the model, there are different frameworks on how to use a particular model effectively coming up every week. So, what I think a lot of people underestimate the current levels of what AI can do. I think if you build a system, AI can replace most of the repeatable workflows that you have in your organizations, and to some extent also can become a source of inspiration to kind of like upgrade some of the existing workflows or some of the existing processes of any organization. So I think people underestimate the power of AI today. It's not AGI, but it's very much can replace people's jobs today.
This is, I would say, something that generally speaking, people who are in white collar jobs may be a little bit worried about, that there is a certain replacement risk of certain roles, of certain responsibilities. And I'm wondering a little bit, based on your experience, can you perhaps walk me through examples where this has not, when there was the attempt from a company, from a business who said, I want to maybe not hire or replace certain teams, departments, or free them up to do higher value tasks, that failed? Where didn't it work?
I've heard one or two companies, I think it was Block, that made massive numbers of people redundant, and then they had to go into a hiring spree because they overestimate the capabilities of AI, or they overestimated the capabilities or like the maturity of the AI in their organization. And to kind of like repeat the question, you're asking me where AI hasn't worked, right? Examples of cases.
And the example that you gave was, I think, one of them. And perhaps you have more insights or more reflective perspectives on this, where a company, a client said, I'm going to automate XYZ, I'm going to put AI in, and by doing so, I'm intending to take out humans. Where didn't this work well in practice?
I think in this particular case wherein oh yeah, I suddenly remembered it. Amazon cut down I think 30,000 jobs in the last 6 months. Amazon Web Services is known to be one of the most kind of stable cloud services that you can get out there. I think within the last 2 to 3 months, it had two outages, which is rare. It's a huge, like it's very rare. That means if AWS is down, that probably brings down 60 to 80% of the entire internet, because most companies have one or the other services running on AWS. And we had these two massive outages because AWS removed a huge number of people and relied heavily on AI and probably forgot about the guardrails that all organizations should have. AWS was one. There was another organization, I think, Vercel, which is very popular developer tool that kind of like all startups are using. One of their employees had used a third-party AI tool which had a vulnerability, because of which the secrets got out, and I think a lot of organizations um, data, like a part of their data was hacked. So these are some of the newer, like these are some of the recent examples that are coming on top of my mind. And organizations relied heavily on AI, did not do their risk auditing, did not understand the risk, did not create kind of safe, risk averse implementations of AI, wherein they had to have heavy business losses or like reputational as well as revenue wise.
Right. And I think this naturally begs the question, okay, what is it that we should all be doing? So when in a business context, when other professionals ask you what AI skills they need, how do you answer?
So I think I want to start a little with what you said earlier about replacement risk that people are feeling today. So there is a genuine replacement risk for all jobs today because to some extent, even if AI cannot replace me as a product manager, but my organization could have hired three product managers. But now with the help of AI, because I'm giving it a lot of my admin work, which is going from managing the entire product backlog to creating tickets, which would take a lot of my time managing project timelines and just giving me reminders, giving everyone reminders on like collecting statuses. So a lot of that work is being automated by AI. So instead of having, say, 2 to 3 product managers, now, because of that efficiency gain, 2 jobs are effectively removed with me being the only product manager. So the replacement risk is real and it's coming first with the productivity and efficiency gain that we are seeing in organizations. So overall, we expect that AI is going to displace more jobs than it is going to create in the white collar jobs.
Understand you correctly. You have the perspective that AI will replace more jobs than it will create.
Yes, totally. So, um, I definitely believe that it will do that, that there'll be lesser jobs than AI will create. And that is why it's not the best case scenario, but my recommendation to the people would be to, be a part of the change rather than being replaced by the change. And already in their roles, start seeing how they can use AI to basically boost their productivity. So they become that 1 out of 3 product managers that is using AI to be employed. I know it sounds very sad that you're trying to like improve your skills to replace other people, but it is what it is at this particular moment. And I'm genuinely kind of like afraid of what the future is going to hold for humanity when a massive number of people won't have jobs and the future is going to be controlled by a few organizations which are going to displace a lot of these jobs. So it's like at this point of time, especially working with a lot of agentic AI every day, I kind of see it as a dystopian future.
But let me re-ask the question. So what are the particular AI skills that business professionals should now acquire?
So I think first of all would be understanding the fundamentals of AI, what AI exactly is, what are the different types of AI. Secondly, what can you use AI for in your day to day? And I think the important part is being like, even if people are using it to write emails, just being comfortable with that change, comfortable with knowing that there's a system that will probably do a better email writing job or better document writing job than you would. So that would be second, like start being comfortable with that change and start adopting, say, even ChatGPT, etc. Third would be following certain kind of like niche influencers on LinkedIn, Instagram, of whatever field, or even X of whatever field that you're part of. So I would just go like, if you are a product manager, I would just say I search for people who are AI product managers and who are posting a lot about technology or product management, sorry. If you are a consultant, AI consultants. If you are, say, an operational person, AI operational people. And you'll find these people who are early adopters of AI and kind of redefining the new era or the new roles that are going to be a combination of AI plus your existing stream. And I would recommend everyone to kind of find these people and follow them and read what they're posting on how they are navigating the change and be part of that change, adopt those technologies and adopt those new processes and workflows that these people are coming up with. It's an easier way to adopt AI than discovering phase.
Where do you draw the line? I mean, it's great to be at the forefront of technology for sure, but where do you draw the line between staying at the forefront and not getting like caught up with all the every new tools that come out every week? You mentioned it yourself. In February, it was Open Claude, and there was Paperclip. Now it's more Claude and Claude Code. Now there is a movement back to OpenAI and GPT 5.5. Where do you draw the line?
I think depends totally on the field. If you are in a startup, in a technology company, in an AI company, then you need to be experimenting with these every other day. Whereas if you, for example, are in a legal profession, all you need to do is get your organization to get you the Harvey, the legal AI tool, and start adopting that. Whereas if you say are in a marketing agency, then you need to get Google's Pompeii, which does like beautiful marketing campaigns. So it's like you don't need to know everything out there. You just need to find your niche of AI tools and like try them. If they work for you, great. If they don't work for you, try again in a couple of months or even with the speed that we have in a couple of weeks, and probably they'll work for you.
What are the skills that you're seeing that become more valuable because of AI?
I think critical thinking, definitely, because now that AI can do a lot of the implementation work, the critical thinking piece, defining what needs to be done, defining the business skills themselves, what is the core goal, and being able to take a step back and being able to think and define that is becoming very crucial. If we see a lot of companies today, especially for business roles, have removed a lot of like coding rounds, etc. For example, product manager roles at Google always required a coding round, and now they've replaced that with a wide coding round, wherein they don't want to see if you can code; they want to see if you can work with AI and create a product. So similarly, I foresee that rather than a law firm giving you a case study of a law assignment, they'll be like, can you use AI to figure out the flaws in this legal document case that we have within the next half an hour or 1 hour? How would you do that? And they'll more likely, like, I think I've seen one example of this already. So rather than asking you the final output, they'll more likely ask you the prompts that you've given to AI and kind of try to decipher your critical thinking, your thought process on how you deal with AI when AI does not understand you well. Like, are you able to take a step back and give it more clearer instructions? So these are some of the skills that I see are going to be very useful. To summarize, basically critical thinking, business oriented thinking, and then basically prompt engineering.
How do you think about the personal skills in the age of AI? So humans dealing with humans, like just being genuinely interested or curious about other individuals, be it in a business development or sales context, or just genuinely building trusted relationships.
Yeah, I think those are some very important skills based on the function you're in. So all the client-facing functions would even need interpersonal skills even more, because a lot of the, say, time that they were spending in creating presentations, etc., can now be reduced by using AI. So now they have more, say, face time with the clients, and they'll be spending a lot of time building that trust, building like taking those conversations forward. So interpersonal skills definitely are very important. And to some extent, people inherently do not trust AI. So if you have AI tools running on the back, so they need even more trustworthy humans on the front who can establish trust.
On the flip side, I mean, we talked about this a little bit, and we said there are certain AI skills, certain skills in the age of AI that are more relevant: critical thinking, judgment, business judgment, interpersonal skills. You mentioned prompt engineering, which I found interesting. What are the skills on the flip side where you say they were super important in the past, but in the age of AI, they're just becoming less defensible?
I think hard skills, for example, how to create a financial model, how to create a presentation deck, how to code, all of these skills are becoming less defensible because AI is able to do all of these things really effectively well. I think when Affleck, the Hollywood actor, was giving a description of AI that like AI is trained on all the good data out there in the world currently and all the bad data out there. So it's trained with some of the best financial model examples and some of the worst as well. So it's come somewhere above average, wherein it's able to democratize the knowledge of building financial models to an above average level, wherein people like me who are not from finance can get there very easily now. But people from finance who are an expert won't find the quality as good, but they're able to save the time because all of the basic boilerplate work is now done. So I would say more and more the quality of this above average financial models code presentations is just going to go higher and higher because the companies are investing massive amounts in that. So hard skills are becoming less defensible, and your interpersonal skill, critical thinking, business judgment, and as well as the ability to learn, curiosity, ability to adapt are becoming more and more and more important.
Now, Akshay, let's slowly but gradually start wrapping up our conversation. We've covered a lot of ground already, and let's try to distill some of like the key aspects together. So for someone listening who wants to stay valuable as AI changes their work, where should
Mhm.
they start?
Find one thing that you hate in your job and try to see if there's an AI replacement for that. And I think like this really helps in adopting AI because you are replacing that one thing that you hate, and it just gives you more and more incentive to replace that with AI. So that just like while doing that, you're learning a lot about how AI works. So that is my recommendation.
This is an interesting recommendation, and maybe we can make this concrete. And I'm using myself as an example. Something that I have to do is every day I have to release time entries and tell our system what is it that I worked on today, which client projects that I worked on, which business development activities that I work on. And we have a system for this, obviously. This then gets feed into accounting, etc. So how could I set up an AI agent just for myself who could do these time entries?
There is a tool called Claude Desktop. So Claude Desktop has a
Mhm,
co-work feature. As part of that co-work feature, it can
mhm.
control your computer and it'll ask you for permission every time it does that. So you can ask it that you can just have a conversation with it. Number one, to start with, that, hey, this is what I worked on. Can you go fill in that system, my timesheet? You go onto that your web browser and fill that in. Some people are going a level forward which might not be compliant in a lot of organizations, wherein they are basically asking AI to take screenshots every half an hour or 1 hour to kind of snapshot what the person is working on and creating a personal summary for themselves, and then asking AI to now fill that timesheet because now AI knows what project were you working on at a particular point of time. Might not be compliant everywhere. Um, and I think if you use AI, like some of the not compliant, but enterprise AI systems, and you're using that a lot in your work, you can just ask it to record kind of like an estimated time of each of the things that you're working with it for. And then it can give you a summary at the end of it. And then you can go to Claude Cowork and ask it to fill that system. So that's something that you can do wherein rather than you having to estimate and remember everything, AI give you a summary and then another AI go to that system. And while you go for a coffee and have a conversation with a colleague of yours, the AI is filling all that system and probably it can ask you to review before it clicks the submit button. That's something you can configure.
And for, let's say, CEO, a business executive, a senior manager deciding where to use AI in their organization, what are the first few questions that they should be asking themselves?
I think I would ask them to kind of assess everything on say an XY axis, wherein one is the value and second is the risk. So I would ask them to categorize based on the risk, categorize all the different items. For example, information, telling a customer about their bank balance is somewhat of a medium risk. Telling a customer about public information of like policies of a bank is a low risk. Telling a like letting AI do a transaction on the behalf of a human is a high risk item. So kind of categorizing all the different um, things that are on top of the head in these different risk buckets. And then the value part, how much business value, which of course we decide based on revenue and cost, how much revenue gain would we have or cost reduction would we have if we implement AI in these processes, and just create a process map, just create a graph for all of these processes on these two axes, and then start choosing the high value, low risk items. And that's where I would start with.
This is an interesting framework that you described, and I think rather relevant in a business context. I like this dimensioning of say, okay, there's value and there's risk, and there is a trade-off in between the two of them, most certainly. Now, Akshay, what did you believe about AI, let's say 2 or 3 years ago, or even 4 years when ChatGPT came out, that your experience has now revised? What has changed in your thinking?
I think when ChatGPT came, it was kind of a eureka moment for everyone. My God, AI can do so much. I can have a proper conversation just like I would with a human. So that was going from somewhat 0 to 1. And when that happened, I think a lot of us thought AGI was so close, because generally how you read in the books, or how the estimation is that AGI is supposed to come by 2075, so 2075. And there are these different stages of AI that are described in artificial intelligence that would come. But when ChatGPT came along the first time, we thought AGI is going to come in a year because it's already so much advanced, the level of development that we have seen. But now with the incremental updates that we are seeing, my thought has, or my view has revised that AGI is still far away, and probably it take us like a decade at least to reach AGI. It's accelerated quite a lot because of OpenAI. Going from 2075, I think we are somewhere now between 2035 to 2040, still like 30 years ahead. But yeah, that was something that changed.
Then let's start wrapping up our conversation today. And we have a closing tradition on this podcast. And there are two final questions that I would like to ask you. The first one being, if you zoom out a little bit, this doesn't have to be specific in the context of the AI. Is there someone or something that you find generally inspiring you right now? Like, is there a leader, a person, a book, an idea, or anything else that gives you energy and inspires you?
I think there is this book, 0 to 1. It's a very old book by Peter Thiel, which is about how to build a startup, and like how, building something from scratch is way more exciting than kind of continuing something that's already built. So that particular book inspires me quite a lot, as well as you know, I've been working on this project, Rivendell, that's taking a lot of my time. That kind of really energizes and motivates me at the moment.
And if our audience members remember just one thing from our conversation, one insight, one way of thinking differently, one action that they should take, what would you want that to be?
I would want everyone to go back and find one place they can use AI in, one new place, because it's very important in today's age to adapt to change. And I would recommend everyone to find that one place where they can make that change.
Well, then Akshay Nagpal, thank you for joining today, and thank you for this conversation.
Thank you, Florian. It was lovely being here and having this conversation with you.